Hi, it's Anne from Unity Physiotherapy and Wellbeing. This is a mindful and compassionate body awareness practice to gently be with what's here. Everything in this practice is invitational. This means you choose what to engage with and how, and you can stop at any time. If you're familiar with the window of tolerance, this practice is inviting you to stay within your window. This means staying in a place that feels settled enough, safe enough to you. So if you start to feel like something's not okay enough, you're quite unsettled, you're starting to feel overwhelmed, dysregulated, then please change your focus or use an anchor if you've got an anchor that's soothing or grounding. Move around or do anything that helps you to feel a bit more settled, brings in a bit more regulation, and then you can return to the practice if it's okay for you. You can also dip in and out of noticing, so if something's starting to feel a bit too unsettling, you can take your attention to something else in the body or to something externally, and then you can dip back into what you were noticing if that's okay for you. There's no right or wrong way to do this. This practice can be done in any position, whether that's sitting, laying or standing. So when you're ready, I invite you to come into a comfortable position, whatever you're choosing, and settle in. You can do this practice with your eyes open or closed. If your eyes are open, perhaps soften or lower your gaze. And whatever position you've chosen, I invite you to notice your feet on the floor, your feet on the earth. If your feet aren't on the floor, perhaps imagine that they are. And notice the contact of your feet with the earth, the point where they meet the floor. Notice the support of the earth beneath your feet. Notice all of the contact points of the body that are supported by whatever is supporting you, whether that's a chair, the floor, a bed. Noticing all of the areas of the body that are supported. And maybe noticing the position of the body, for example, body sitting. So noticing the contact points of the body that are supported and the position of the body. Noticing your feet on the floor is also one thing you can return to at any time. It could be an anchor for you. I invite you to connect to an intention to be compassionate and curious in this practice as best you can. So being non-judgmental and having a willingness to allow what's present to be exactly as it is. To be interested, to be curious, and to do this from a place of care as best you can. So I invite you to bring your attention into your body with a compassion and curiosity as best you can. Not changing, simply noticing. So noticing what sensations are present where. Moving your attention around the body and noticing what sensations are present where. If it's helpful for you, you can label the sensations with the quality of them. So for example, lightness or heaviness, warmth or coolness, tightness or ease or relaxation. Remember, doing so in a non-judgmental, compassionate, curious way, we can simply notice the sensations. If you find you get hooked into thought or story about the sensations, notice that, which you could label as thoughts, and then come back to what you're noticing. Simply noticing what sensations are present where, allowing them to be as they are. You can either stay with noticing sensations, or you can bring your attention to your breathing and notice what your breath is like, not changing, simply noticing. Your breath is okay, exactly as it is. Noticing the air coming into the body and leaving the body. Maybe noticing it come in through the nose and out through the nose. Maybe noticing different qualities of the breath. Maybe that it's short or long, smooth or jerky, regular or irregular, Maybe noticing whether you feel it most in the belly, the ribs, the upper chest, back of the throat, somewhere else. Simply noticing the breath and different qualities of the breath. And you can either stay with noticing the breath, or you can bring your attention to noticing what your energy is like and how you know this. So maybe there's a lightness or heaviness somewhere, a tightness or relaxation. How do you know what your energy is like? And is it fairly settled, a bit low, really depleted, a bit bubbly or really hyper? What is your energy like and how do you know this? Maybe noticing what sorts of thoughts and emotions are present and how they show up in the body. Getting a whole picture of how you are right now. Maybe there's a word or words for how you are right now, and if there is, simply notice that. And in a moment, we'll go on to focusing on one part of your experience. You can choose to end this practice now at this check-in part. Or if it's okay for you, I invite you to choose one part of your experience to focus on, whether that's something that's pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Choose one thing to bring your attention to. And remember, at any time you can move your attention either internally or externally and then come back to what you were focusing on if that's okay for you. To take your compassionate, curious attention to one element of your experience, to watch that change and unfold. And doing this in a light, gentle way, with interest, with curiosity, like you were watching a sunset or clouds in the sky. A gentle, sort of spacious attention on one thing. Noticing whatever you've chosen to notice, change and unfold in its own way, in its own time. Everything's always changing. There's ebb and flow within everything, including the one thing you're focusing on right now. And if your attention drifts, which it likely will, you can acknowledge what it's drifted to if that's helpful. For example, labelling thoughts and come back to what you're focusing on. Or you can simply gently come back to what you're focusing on. Watching it change and unfold in its own way, being with as that curious observer from a place of care and compassion. Watching it change for maybe 20 to 30 seconds more. Then I invite you to bring your attention a bit wider again, so noticing how you are as a whole. So what sensations are present, your breathing, your energy, thoughts and emotions. How are you as a whole? Getting a whole picture of how you are. Maybe there's a word or words for how you are right now. Maybe it's different to before, maybe it's not. Simply noticing. And then before we begin to end this practice, I invite you to notice if there's something you need right now, something that would be helpful or supportive. This could be anything, maybe some movement, a walk, some time outside, a drink, a self-hug, something else. There may or may not be something you need right now. If there is, I invite you to meet this need when we end the practice. Simply noticing if there's something that would be supportive for you right now. And as we begin to end this practice, notice your feet on the floor, the position of your body, so for example, body sitting. If your eyes were closed, opening them, maybe moving your head side to side, noticing what you can see around you, what you can hear and feel. Orienting to the space around you once more. Maybe even taking your attention wider than the room you're in and noticing what you can hear outside of the room you're in. If you noticed a need in this practice, I invite you to meet that need, to do what's supportive for you before you go into doing anything else. Whether you noticed a need or not, take a few moments before you go into doing anything else. Sometimes it can be helpful to journal from practices like this. If it is, I invite you to do that now. Giving yourself whatever time you need before you go into doing anything else.